fellow investigators. So good to see you again. We have a new case today. As usual, it's not for the faint of heart. Please be advised today's topic is for mature audiences. Welcome to another. This child became a killer. Most people know the saying, children are our future. Unfortunately, some of our children are exposed to awful experiences. Neglect and abuse is prevalent to children all over the world. This seems to be especially so in underprivileged areas. Today we'll be looking into the case of Eligor Jimenez Lugo, also known as El Ponchis or the Cloak. His case is a reminder that even young people can be capable of heinous crimes. This case also highlighted the issue of child exploitation by drug cartels in Mexico and the violence this life brings with it. You can decide if you think El Ponchis was groomed into becoming a killer, or was the killer always inside. Let's take a look.
Even in a country ravaged by years of drug cartel-fueled violence, it was a shocking scene in Mexico 3 years ago. A baby-faced American teenager accused of working as an assassin for the South Pacific Drug Cartel was paraded in front of reporters. Eligor Jimenez Lugo was just 14 years old when this video was filmed. Jimenez Lugo is known by the nickname El Ponchis. He laid out gruesome details of his life in organized crime.
¿Cuántos ejecutaste, dices?
4.
Eligor Jimenez Lugo is a Mexican-American male born on December 8, 1994 in San Diego, California. Information concerning his early life has been conflicting. However, it has been reported that he was taken in by Child Protective Services after testing positive for cocaine in his system at birth. Both parents were said to be addicted to crack cocaine and had frequent brushes with the law. Eligor's paternal grandmother then filed for him and was awarded custody. Eligor lived in San Diego until he was 7. His grandmother then moved them to Morelos, Mexico. His grandmother was said to make sure he went to school, and that he was well and happy. Unfortunately, in a tragic turn of events, Eligor's grandmother died of cancer. Eligor was on his own, once vulnerable and alone. It is alleged that Eligor was persistently recruited by El Negro, whose given name is Julio de Jesus Rodilla Hernandez. Supposedly, El Negro came into contact with Eligor through dating an older sister of Eligor's. El Negro was a leader in the South Pacific Cartel or CPS. Eligor was lured by what had to be a fortune to him. He was added to CPS ranks and was paid $2,500 in pesos to execute human beings. Eligor then morphed into the infamous El Ponchis. In December 2010, El Ponchis was arrested in Cuernavaca, Mexico. He was attempting to board a flight for Tijuana en route to San Diego, California. Listen to his confession in his own words.
¿Cuántos años tienes? 14. ¿Dónde te detuvieron? ¿Dónde te agarraron?
En el aeropuerto.
¿A dónde ibas?
¿A dónde ibas?
A San Diego,
¿Con quién ibas?
con mi hermana,
¿A los cuántos años empezaste a ejecutar?
los 11.
¿Tú eres el que sales en el video golpeando a un sujeto que está colgado en una casa?
Sí, es
¿Quién te daba órdenes de golpearlos, de ejecutar?
el negro,
¿Dónde aprendiste a ejecutar, a golpear?
en el lago. Me drogaba.
¿Te drogabas?
Me drogaba el negro,
¿Te drogaba el negro? ¿Desde cuándo te drogaba el negro?
desde los 12.
¿Desde los 12 perteneces a la banda?
Sí,
¿Y si son del CPS?
sí es.
¿Qué tipo de arma tenían? ¿Qué tipo de armas tenían?
Cuerno de chivo, 45,
¿Cuánto te pagaban?
2,500.
¿Semanales?
Sí,
¿Dólares o pesos?
dólares y pesos.
¿Quién te los pagaba?
Radilla.
¿Y el Radilla qué es lo que te decía para convencerte de que mataras?
Más me drogaba, no sabía lo que hacía.
¿Te drogaba con qué? ¿Con marihuana o cocaína?
Con moto.
¿Quién te enseñó a meterte droga?
Él.
¿Tienes miedo?
Sí.
¿Tú tienes miedo?
No.
¿No tienes miedo? ¿Sabes lo que va a pasar?
Sí.
¿Sabes que te van a llevar y te van a juzgar por delitos federales? ¿Estás consciente de eso? ¿Cuántos ejecutaste, dices?
4.
¿Cómo los ejecutaste? ¿Cómo los ejecutaste?
Los degollé.
When Ponchis was arrested with his sister, they were carrying guns, cocaine, and plane tickets. Ponchis claimed he was forced into the cartel and into committing the murders. He was quoted as saying, "When I was 11 they picked me up. They said they would kill me. I've killed 4 people. Decapitated them. I felt bad doing it. They made me. They said if I didn't do it they would kill me." Ponchis was charged with several homicides. He confessed to 4. These 4 human beings were brutally decapitated. Apart from his confession, Ponchis also posed in incriminating videos which were saved to his cell phone. In one video he squats in front of a group of gunmen wearing a baseball hat and holding a rifle. In another video, he stands by a prisoner who is hung up like a piece of meat. His shirt is off and tape is over his mouth. Ponchis hits him with a stick. There are also rumors of videos showing Ponchis beheading victims, however, no one seems to have actually seen these videos, or been able to show them. Each murder Ponchis was charged with seemed more brutal than the last. One of the most well-known murders that he was charged with was the murder of a rival gang member. This murder was particularly gruesome because the victim was decapitated, and his head was thrown onto a busy street. Ponchis was also charged with the murder of a teenage boy. It was said that the boy was actually a friend of Ponchis. The two had gone to a party together. Things then turned violent when Ponchis accused the boy of being a rival gang member. The boy was beaten to death and his body was later dumped in a remote area. The murder of a taxi driver was also charged to Ponchis. The taxi driver was reportedly killed for being a suspected spy for a rival gang. The driver's body was also decapitated. A female drug dealer was also murdered when she crossed paths with Ponchis and his gang. She was beaten and stabbed to death. Her body was left on the side of the road as a warning to other drug dealers in the area.
Lugo said he was 11 years old when he started killing and slit the throats of 4 victims himself. He also said drug cartel leaders picked him off the street and forced him into carrying out the assassinations, and that he was high on drugs when he killed cartel rivals. Ponchis was convicted as a juvenile and sentenced to 3 years in prison. Now he's 17 and was released from prison Tuesday in Mexico. News cameras captured the release. He was quickly deported back to the United States, flown to San Antonio, Texas, where he disappeared back into American society. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials say they helped facilitate his return, but say privacy laws prohibit the agency from releasing more details. Ponchis was born in San Diego. He's a U.S. citizen. He served his prison sentence and does not face any criminal charges in the United States, so he's free to move around.
Ponchis served his 3 years in a juvenile prison. During his time in prison, he learned to read and write. In addition, he received psychological attention. You may be wondering why Ponchis only received 3 years of jail time. Under judicial reforms enacted several years ago, Morelos state set a maximum sentence of 3 years for offenders aged 12 to 15 years old. Older minors can be sentenced to 5 years in prison, and those younger than 12 can't be tried at all. Credited with time served, Ponchis was released in December 2013. He was only 17 years old at that time. He was described by prison experts to have been quiet and introverted. Since he had no charges in the United States, once he was deported back to the US he was completely free. He was banned from ever returning to Mexico. Mexican authorities have been said to consider him as a victim of organized crime. He was transferred to San Antonio or San Diego to live with relatives. His final destination is unknown. Reporters have written that police estimate that the South Pacific Cartel is behind approximately 200 of the 332 homicides last year. Other detained gang members said they were paid $3,000 for each killing. This amount had to be shared amongst the cell. Members of the South Pacific Cartel are estimated to be aged just 12 to 23 years old. Unfortunately, many American children are also falling victim to the cartel.
Ponchis isn't the only American teenager lured into this violent world. CNN told the notorious stories of 2 American drug cartel assassins in exclusive jailhouse interviews a few months ago.
In all, how many people did you kill?
I have no idea.
No idea. You lost track?
I guess so.
Gabriel Cardona is serving a life sentence in Texas. He and a childhood buddy, Rosalio Reta, worked as assassins for the infamous Zetas drug cartel as teenagers. Their stories highlighted the frightening trend of cartel leaders luring young kids with the promise of money and power to carry out the cartel's dirty work.
The first day I had to take somebody's life, that's a day I'm never going to be able to forget. Because after that, I didn't have no life.
Reta and Cardona are locked away for life.
López Mateo.
But the kid known as El Ponchis is getting a second chance. When the young man known as El Ponchis landed here in San Antonio, we're told that he was turned over to an aunt and that he'll spend time in a rehabilitation center, but it's not exactly clear where that will be. State Child Protective Services here in Texas say they are not handling his case, and many people will be watching closely to see if this young man returns to a world of violent crime.
When questioned after El Ponchis' release from prison on whether it's possible for him to commit another crime, a Morelos government secretary could only respond with, "We did everything in our power while he was hospitalized. We offered him psychological support, instruction, and even guaranteed protection upon his departure." I guess the future for El Ponchis, now 27 years old, is uncertain. Well, investigators, the case is the case. This is a hard one for our very first deep dive. When dealing with children as young as El Ponchis, it's hard to accept that they can be capable of such gruesome crimes. What do you think about this crime? And should El Ponchis have been released in such a short time? Leave your answers below. See you next time. And thank you for watching.
Make sure to check out the link below for our new merch. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like this content.